is sponsored by the Marquardt Law Firm and does not attempt to solve your individual legal problems upon the basis of information contained herein. Instead, contact an attorney to discuss the specific facts and circumstances of your unique situation. The views and opinions of this program do not reflect the views of the Salem Media Group.
It's time for Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt. Todd Marquardt, attorney at law in Texas. If you're a millionaire or a thousandaire, Talk Law Radio is now on the air. Call in with your business law question, your elder law question, veteran aid, Medicaid, build a business to get paid. 210-308-8867. Or ask a question online at marquardtlawfirm.com. That's MARQUARDT lawfirm.com. And now it's Talk Law Radio with Todd Marquardt.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. Alyssa, you're on KLUP 9:30 a.m., KSLR 6:30 a.m. in San Antonio. Also KNTH 1070 and 103.3 FM in Houston. Also Facebook Live, YouTube, and talklawradio.com. Houston and San Antonio have been experiencing storms this year. We've had hail and wind, and with that comes roof damage. And you're going to talk to us about roofing today, and I'll talk a little bit about the law. But first, let's check in with Joseph, financial planner with Financial Planning HQ, and we're going to talk about the financial focus. What do you have in store for us today?
Really excited to be here with my wife as well. So we're married. And I wanted to talk about an analogy that I've been thinking of related to getting your financial house in perfect order. Because a lot of people who are listening to us say this, week in and week out, may wonder, how do you do that? And today I want to go over exactly how we get a client's financial house in order using the analogy of building a custom home.
Okay. Yeah, everybody sort of knows what goes into building a home because they have all those home builder TV shows.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of them. So me and my wife, I thought it would relate to us. We recently were put in charge of the kids ministry at our church. And one of the parables that we went over that first week was the parable of the wise and the foolish builder. So you have the foolish builder who builds his house on the sand, right? And the storm comes and his house gets swept away with the wind and the storm. But the wise man builds his house on the rock, which is, of course, that foundation of Jesus Christ. It's living it in action, right? So I thought about that, but we also flip houses. So we've done 2 projects already, and we've noticed that everything in a house is interconnected. The AC, the framing really, not the framing, the foundation really is connected to everything. But then you have the framing, the AC, the plumbing. It's a system that's interconnected.
And the roof.
And you need it all, the roof, and you need it all working in perfect order before you put it on the market. So when we come in as flippers, we want to have a great product for people. So you make sure that everything's working perfectly before you put it out there to make a profit on it.
Yeah, and how does that relate to financial planning?
In financial planning, everything is interconnected, and it follows kind of the same system. So you have your taxes, your insurance, risk management, goal planning, and all that. And a lot of times people just attack them one at a time, and they have all these experts working in a vacuum. And what we start off with is the idea that all the aspects of your finances are interconnected. They impact each other, and you need a cohesive plan that takes into account that everything is working together as a whole, as a system. Instead of just saying, I need my investment guy to give me good investment advice, your tax person needs to sign off on that. And a lot of times they're not going to talk to each other on their own. But starting with the foundation, right? The foundation is really connected to every part of the house.
So you're telling us the financial focus is to get our financial house in order. What's the first step?
Yeah, it would be that, like I'm talking about the foundation, right? Which is, actually it starts with the blueprint. I'm getting ahead of myself. So you really, before you build a house, you're going to need a blueprint for how you're going to build it. And our blueprint is something we call the financial roadmap. And that's not where we tell you what's important to you. It's where we sit down with you for just an hour and a half. We require both spouses to be there. And we talk about your vision for the future. What's important to you? What are your driving motivations around achieving what you want to achieve? What are your financial goals? What are they exactly? And where are you now financially? And once we facilitate that conversation, that becomes something you can use with your own advisor. If we work with you, that becomes the blueprint for creating your strategy. It's all based on what you said was important to you. And that's why I use the analogy of a custom home. It's not like a track home or just a home for one size fits all. It's really customized and tailored towards what you want to achieve.
Okay, so Joseph Warren is a financial planner with Financial Planning HQ. We're talking about the financial focus, getting your financial house in perfect order. So when you have the blueprint, what do you do with it next?
Yep. Now, in the analogy, now we get to the foundation. I got ahead of myself, but that foundation are those main 3 things you need to get done, 3 to 5 things. And there's this idea called the Pareto principle. I talk about it a lot, but I want to explain it a little bit. It's the idea that a small percentage of actions lead to a high amount of results. So an example is Stephen King as an author. He's one of the top authors in the world, and like 95% of books are sold by him, or J.K. Rowling. Just a few authors get many of the sales. So we look at what are these 3 to 5 actions you can take that are integral to that financial foundation. And just 14 days after the meeting, we make sure you take action on those things, right? Maybe getting your cash reserves in order, getting out of debt. But what do you really need to do to have a strong financial foundation? And it's not just us. Like I said, it's the entire team, the tax expert, the mastermind group we create. We come up with this. What are the 3 things they need to get done right away that are going to have a huge impact on their finances?
If somebody wants to know what those 3 things are for them, what should they do?
Call us and we'll do your financial roadmap. And that really is that blueprint, that first step. And like I said, it's a no obligation meeting, 1 hour and 30 minutes. You're going to learn a lot. It really is an amazing experience. It's going to elevate the conversations you have around your finances. And just give me a call at 210-444-2128 and we can get that scheduled. That's 210-444-2128.
I see what you're trying to do here. What's the frame of the financial?
Yep. After that, so we get the foundation in order. Then you build the frame of the house, right? You build the outside, the part of the ceiling. You know the words better than I do. You can probably tell me. But the framing is taking care of all those other things. Now that you have a strong foundation, you want to take care of those other things that you need to do. So we'll look at each discipline, your tax discipline, investments, with the tax expert, with the investment expert, and we have them come up with their best possible advice. First separately, and then we get them together to look at all the crossover issues. And that's where you get the plan for that year of the exact actions to take in priority order, but also you get the plan for the rest of your life. So we'll go as far out as, for younger clients, this is when to take Social Security. But you'll have an exact step-by-step plan to take at that point in time. And that's really the framing. So then you start building outward from the foundation.
How do you protect the plan once it's built?
Yep. And that gets to like the roof, I think of as safety, putting the walls up, things like that. The next step is we have what we call the comprehensive safety review. And we look at every risk that exists to the plan, anything that worries the client. So we ask them, we try to get it out of them. What's everything that's worrying you when it comes to your finances? And we come up with an exact strategy for what to do. And again, I know I'm reiterating it a lot, but it's with the team. It's not just us saying this is what you got to do. It's a tax expert there. It's either your tax expert or our tax expert. We make sure it's interdisciplinary because they are interconnected. And we come up with an exact plan for what to do when things go wrong, when there's storms in your life.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more about how you customize it.
This is the final part. So when you build a house, you really customize it. This is like the pool, putting the pool in the backyard. This is like your kitchen design, putting, the appliances and all that stuff. We make it your own because the next step is the goal progress outlook, where we look for a strategy for each goal that you have. So a step-by-step plan of action to make sure that you're going to achieve what your specific goals are, whether it's a trip to Italy, building your dream home, whatever it is, we make sure that you get what you want. And I use that analogy because a lot of times, you can cut corners. We know I'm not going to mention names, but there's builders out there who really don't put a lot of pride in their work. It's kind of like we just want to make the cheapest product possible. Mm-hmm. But the right way to do it is you inspect it every step of the way. You do the foundation, you inspect it. The framing, you inspect it. And that's what we do. We provide that oversight to make sure everyone's working in unison and our clients are getting the absolute best advice. That's what our incentives are aligned with. We want our clients to have the best advice possible, follow through with it so they achieve what they want to achieve.
And if somebody is interested in talking to you, what should they do?
Yep. Don't hesitate. Call me right now. Call me today at 210-444-2128. That's 210-444-2128. We'll have a short conversation and then we can get you scheduled for your financial roadmap, which will be the blueprint for creating the financial future that you want to create.
Thank you for the financial focus. We're going to talk with Alyssa Warren about roofing law next, and you can stay.
Yay.
We'll be right back. Are you confident about your financial future? What if you had a clear financial roadmap and a team holding you accountable to make the best financial decisions no matter what? At Financial Planning HQ, Steve and his sons, Joseph and Jacob, have been helping San Antonio families since 1987 with inspiring, intelligent financial strategies. Whether it's achieving or maintaining financial independence, becoming more tax efficient, or building business wealth, we create a comprehensive, written lifetime financial strategy that's uniquely yours, based entirely on what's important to you. Don't leave your financial future to chance. Call Financial Planning HQ today at 210-685-2722. That's 210-685-2722. And take the first step towards financial clarity. That's Financial Planning HQ, inspiring financial strategies for San Antonio. Remember, 210-685-2722. What if you couldn't speak for yourself? A power of attorney ensures someone you trust can act on your behalf. I'm attorney Todd Marquardt. Let's put your plan in place now. Schedule your free consultation at marquardtlawfirm.com or call 210-530-4278. That's 210-530-4278. Do it before you die.
9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. Now it's time to discover your hidden legal issue blind spots by listening to me talk about the law on the radio. And today we're going to be talking with Alyssa Warren with Holden Roofing about roofing law. But first, let's get to know you a little bit better. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Fresno, California. So I've been in San Antonio since 2019.
Okay, and how did you get here?
Honestly, it was very random. I was supposed to be going to Colorado, and I was coming through this way to visit a friend in Florida that ended up not answering my calls last minute, and I got stuck in Texas. And then I ended up jumping around looking at different areas of Texas. I fell in love with it and decided to stay here in San Antonio. So.
Wow, that is interesting. Yeah. Where's Fresno?
Fresno's right in the Central Valley in California. So it's like right between LA and Sacramento. So you're just a couple hours from the beach, from Yosemite, and very fun.
Nice. Yeah. You mentioned Yosemite. Are you an outdoor person?
Yes. Yeah. And then I grew up, it's funny, I'm from Fresno, but I also grew up in East Tennessee outside of Knoxville and Anderson County. And I grew up climbing up trees and stuff. So coming into roofing, I remember one of the questions was, "You're not scared of heights, are you?" And I'm like, no, definitely not.
How did you get interested in roofing?
So the company I was originally going to go to Colorado and open up a branch for, I was in marketing before and running a branch in California, and they wanted me to go open a branch in Colorado Springs. But I ended up liking Texas. I was like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and stay in San Antonio. Can I open up here? They said yes. And then they ended up cutting the pay that they were originally going to give me. So I started looking at other options. And I was originally in the financial world. I was a financial broker-dealer. I worked in the financial broker-dealer firm, recruiting financial advisors and planners like him. Oh, okay. So I was in that field. So I was like, I'm going to go back into that and get out of marketing. And I got the job for two of them, and I was making the decision. And then roofing, I randomly got a call from them. I don't know how they got my resume, and I was interested. I looked into the pay, and I was like, huh. So had a conversation with them, like the management team that I met, and I ended up starting that next day with them, and I turned down both of those offers.
Oh, wow.
I've been there ever since.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Joseph, you mentioned in the last segment that y'all are married.
Yes.
And so I wanted to hear the story of how you met.
Yeah, it's an interesting. Feel free to jump in whenever you want.
Okay.
But she originally came to me as a client, and we had known a lot of people beforehand. So we were in the same circle, but had never met each other. I knew Joe Lorigan, who's somebody who works in the branch in San Antonio as a manager. Sergio, a very funny guy, friend of mine who also works at Holden Roofing, one of her colleagues, was actually my client at the time. And she came to me as a client. We did her financial roadmap. And it's interesting. I remember some of her answers still, which was like, I want to start a family. I want to do these things. A lot of stuff that we've done already, right? Like get married, start a family. Her goals that we're working towards now, we actually completed a financial roadmap together afterward. But she became my client at first. And then later on, we decided to go on a date, went ice skating, went on different places to like a different dates and stuff like that, and decided to get married pretty quickly. We did the Christian way, which is we got married about 6 months after we met. Where you first date, you get the ring and you're ready. And yeah, it's been a wild adventure. Now we have 2 kids together, and doing life and flipping houses and all this stuff together, which is a lot of fun. So,
Alyssa, what do you like to do for fun?
For fun, honestly, I enjoy finding those fixer-uppers. I know our new adventure is now we're searching for land to do a build-up. So find the land, build from there. And then I know we want to do a couple of those and then eventually get into like multifamily properties. So that's kind of like my for fun. And then just spending time with the kids. I know like zoo days are always fun. So I know we love to do Zim too. I wish we could go more. It's just for some reason those are the only time our kids get sick is going to the do Zim. They always touch everything, want to put it in their mouth. But yeah, little adventures with the kids and stuff like that.
Cool. Okay, well, let's get into roofing. Tell us about the company.
Yeah, so I work with the largest residential roofing company here in town, Holden Roofing. So they're also one of the oldest companies in town, been in business since 1961. The company, it's a family-ran business. It's not a big corporation. I know often people think we're a huge company and we have like over 40 people, but we actually have a pretty small group, about 20 or less, usually is what we flirt around. And we just do high volumes. We do everything the old school way. We don't do advertisement like billboards, commercials, or anything. We're the largest by just doing it from word of mouth. Like you do your client right, maybe put a sign up in the yard, talk to a neighbor or two, and it's just a snowball effect. You'll get everybody's neighbor, you'll get the whole neighborhood, you'll see our signs up that way, and then you'll start getting, oh, you did my dad's house or did my sister's house, and it just goes from there. So very good company, good rating. So like I said, I've been here with the company since 2019. I get offers all the time, and it's one of those things like I would never leave because I love the culture there. We give back to the community. We have a lot of the same values and stuff within the company, so I love being there, the coworkers, and they do everything right from the installs to warranties, and even outside of warranties, I've seen them take care of the clients past that just to, take care of them going forward.
And Holden Roofing has an office in Houston.
Yep, they do too. So the company originated based out of Katy, Texas. So our largest branch and our original branch is in the Houston area. So I know that team is very large over there, and I think they split up and cover that entire area. We also have branches in Austin, Texas, San Marcos, Temple, Dallas, Fort Worth area. So we're all over the state, and we push very high numbers. And like I said, we're the largest here in San Antonio, and we have been for many years.
The reason I wanted to talk about roofing is because of all the storms that San Antonio and Houston have had over the past couple of months. Tell us what causes damage to roofs?
Yeah, so, and it's kind of funny, you'll hear everyone's kind of got their input. That there's damage of what, Texas Department of Insurance calls damage. There's damage of what a roofer would say damage is, and then there's damage of what the manufacturers of the shingles and different products on your roof is. But in general, it's going to be like the most common you're going to see for like insurance claims purposes. They're looking for hail damage. So hail damage, typically when we're like looking around the house, signs of hail damage are going to be little nicks to the fence that we can see are pretty consistent with that size hail that's reporting. Window screens will also have nicks to them. AC combing systems, you'll see them in there. You'll find dents all around the property, and even like gutters and downspouts, the dings. So when I'm walking around a house doing a full inspection, I'm already starting to see signs, what direction that storm came in, what's the size, kind of get an idea. So before I even get on the roof, I kind of generally see what's going on. When we get on the roof, what we're finding are dings to the metals up there. And then we're seeing like the same thing. So we like to call it like almost like fresh pepper marks. I love to go out right after a storm because it looks like fresh pepper marks everywhere. So it's where the hail impacted the shingles, knocked the granules off. You'll have some that you'll almost see like a divot in where it will bruise the matting. So those are a lot of the signs we're looking for. And before we even get to a claims process, I want to make sure there's enough evidence around before we even talk about that.
And so why is that bad for a shingle to have a dent or to be missing some of the sand on top of it?
Yeah, so once the hail hits and impacts that shingle, knocks those granules off, basically if you go back to how a shingle is made, so it's the asphalt, fiberglass, asphalt, and then granules. So when you knock those granules off, now you're just exposing that asphalt. Our heat here is extreme. So you're just basically baking, and you'll see even where the tar, it starts separating. You'll see those hail hits over time. They start opening up where we can now see the fibers. Oh. So now once you're down to the fiber, it's only a matter of time. Now you're down to a lot of the houses here, if it's the originals, we're looking at it doesn't have that synthetic underlayment, it has the old school felt paper, and water's just basically going through that hole down to the felt paper and now getting to your wood sheathing, and that's where you get soft decking. And when we do replace the roof, we're replacing all that different wood sheathing everywhere. So it becomes an issue. And then if you let it go a long, long period of time, like let's say a course of about 5 years after the original storm, you're like, oh, I'm fine. That's now you're getting holes through there, and then the decking's now leaking, and now you're seeing the water spots in your house.
Right, so, it just gets worse and worse.
Exactly. I always tell people, if you've already seen leaks in your house, you're already too late. So there's a mess going on up there. So, wow. Yeah.
Well, we're talking with Alyssa Warren about roofing, and we'll get to the law in the next segment, but I wanted to find out all of the science behind it. Joseph was a scientist before he became a financial planner, and it sounds like that you treat your job as a science as well.
Yeah, so I always tell my clients I'm not your typical roofer. So I think that's why we kind of clicked a lot too, is we both like to look into things really deep and do our research, and we're kind of nerdy in that way. But it's good to know, and it's not just me with Holden too. That's what I like. That's the culture there. They're all the same. We always bounce off each other. Hey, this is a new law that came out. Hey, this is a new way they're writing up policies. Hey, and we all feed off each other, and we update constantly. And that's why we're always ahead of the game, and then the other roofing companies follow later after they learn what we've learned.
Okay, that's so interesting. The hail you mentioned is one thing. A couple of years ago, after a storm, I saw shingles in my yard, and that's not supposed to happen. And so I knew to call a roofing company after that. When I was doing research for the show, though, it mentioned that sometimes wind can cause a crease in the shingle. Yep. What's bad about that?
Yeah, so and with shingles themselves, a lot of people don't realize there's a couple different ones out there, but a very common builder grade shingle out there is called a 3-tab shingle. It's a 25-year shingle, 2025. Those, even at the best, like Owens Corning product, start at 60 mile per hour winds. So, and it just decreases from there. If you're getting into an architectural shingle, that's a 30-year roof. Those ones will start typically, like if you get a good Owens Corning and they're nailing it down right, you're about 130 mile per hour winds or 100-mile-per-hour winds, and then they decrease from there. But if you're seeing shingles fly off, that's first, it did originally most likely start creasing and flapping. That ceiling that's on a shingle most likely broke at that point. Maybe dirt, debris got under it, so now it's just flapping in the wind.
Oh, okay.
And then you get enough good gust, you'll start flipping it up, and then it starts getting really flappy, and then another good gust, there it goes.
Okay.
So when it creases, it's basically, once it creases, those granules are coming off. So that crease causes those granules come off. So it's just making it more flimsy over time, and that's why it's eventually going to go.
So if I saw shingles in my yard, the problem started way before
Way
that.
before. Yeah.
Interesting. This is Talk Law Radio. We're talking about roofing, and in the next segment, we'll be talking about the law. If you have a question for Alyssa, call the radio station right now, Saturday, May 30th at 210-308-8867, 210-308-8867. We'll be right back.
Radio with Todd Marquardt is sponsored by the Marquardt Law Firm and does not attempt to solve your individual legal problems upon the basis of information contained herein. Instead, contact an attorney to discuss the specific facts and circumstances of your unique situation. The views and opinions of this program do not reflect the views of the Salem Media Group.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. We're here with Alyssa Warren and Joseph Warren. Alyssa works for Holden Roofing Company, and we're going to talk about the sinners and the saints. Okay, Alyssa, I like to talk about the sinners and the saints because I grew up in a traditional church. That's why I have the organ music playing, and the pastor would always talk about law and gospel. You know, the Old Testament, Ten Commandments, and then the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I started doing this radio show, and I thought, I want to do the sinners and the saints, talk about somebody that's done something bad that's published in the news, talk about somebody that's done something good. So related to roofing, I found an article at the Attorney General's website about this roofing company that the state of Texas sued to try and stop them from taking advantage of people and to try and get some of the money back that they owed people. It's Rubinsky Roofing and Gillett Rubinsky for violating the Texas Deceptive Practices Act. So do you have any experience with people who had been taken advantage of by a different roofer?
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, it comes up quite a bit, and usually it's on the tail end that they've already done the roof, and the company disappears, and that now they have warranty issues and nobody's there to fix it, and we come through. And I've even had instances where the job was so bad, we ended up having to tear off an entire roof that they've already paid for and redo it the correct way. So
wow.
it's unfortunate, but
And so are these people hard to work with because they've already been taken advantage of by another company? Or are they somewhat skeptical about?
Yeah, usually those ones come to us because then that's when they start doing the research, and then they find, okay, what's the company I should use? And then those are the ones that call in to us, or they get referred to us. So usually by the time we get involved, they've already done their research, someone's already done it for them, and now we're involved.
Well, the center today, Rubinsky Roofing, that was published in an article on the internet on the Attorney General's website, said that they used aggressive pressuring tactics with door-to-door sales and persistent calls to sort of force these people to hire them for the service. And so that falls under the Texas Deceptive Trade Practices Act for making claims that aren't true and then not doing the work. That's a breach of contract claim. So what you're talking about, though, is just somebody that did a bad job.
Yeah, well, and there's also other instances, even after this last big storm last year that hit the Westover Hills area, there was a company that went in, and you get a lot after a storm. It's like everyone with a ladder becomes a roofer. You'll have ABC landscaping one day, and then next day they're ABC roofing. So same thing with painters, solar people, and they don't know roofing. And what happens, and you'll see on Facebook group chats for contractors, they start, I have a contract, I'm looking for roofing crews, and like last minute they're trying to find someone because they don't know what they're doing. And so a lot of times you get these day laborers. You maybe have one person know roofing on the roof, doing the roof, and then everyone else is just trying to keep up and figure out what they're doing, and that's when you get a horrible job. But it's not just the roof being horrible, it's the install is so bad where now it's causing problems. It's causing leaks. It was misinstalled. But like companies like that, we had a company go through, and usually what happens is they'll run through a neighborhood as fast as they can so they get issues, and then they disappear. So they'll come in, and you'll have sometimes they're like, hey, we're going to give you such a good deal, and they're pressuring people like, your insurance gave you this much money, but I'm going to do it under, and I'm going to cover your deductible, and I'm going to do this and that. And people are like, well, I'm going to save money. I'm going to make money. So they're like, well, I'm going to just go with this company. But the only thing is I have to sign now. So they don't have time to research or do anything. It's, hey, I'm giving you this really good deal, but it's only if you sign now. So there's that pressure. And sometimes you'll see, and I need to get enough to cover the materials. So I'm going to take out of your insurance claim or whatever, I'm going to take $5,000 or $10,000 now, and then we're going to put you on the schedule. And then a month goes out, you haven't done my roof, where are you at? And then 2 months go out, you haven't done my roof, where are you at? 3 months, and it keeps getting pushed off. And the reason why these aren't roofers, then they realize, oh, I'm not with a supplier. I can't get these shingles. And then I have to go to Home Depot, but now there's a shortage. And then they're running into all these issues. And then they end up just folding, taking off, disappearing with the people's money.
That's awful.
No.
Okay, so you're with Holden Roofing, and they have offices in San Antonio and Houston. And on your website, there's a frequently asked question page that I saw, and it said, how do I pick a good roofing company? What are some of the things people should look for or ask?
Yeah, definitely. So, especially when people are interviewing roofers, and I sit down and, I'm maybe the 5th, 10th roofer they've interviewed. My main thing at this point, I'm like, okay, what are you looking for in a roofer? That's the main thing. I want to make sure, am I even the good fit for you? So one thing is, is it price? Is it quality? Is it, what is that? But ultimately I'll say, look, after we go through everything, this is what we offer. And while you're interviewing or going through your list, here's some things you can go through and see if they're a good fit as well. And I'll always leave them with, make sure the company's been in business a minimum of 5 years. I like to see 10 years because then that's a track record. Look at their Google reviews. Google reviews are typically, they're genuine reviews. People are going on. What are they saying? Look at your neighborhood group chats. Are people talking about how they worked with them? And then one of the big things are, what kind of product are they putting on your roof? Are they going to put a generic roof where they're just putting more money in their pocket and giving you the shorthand? Are they going to put a good quality with a good warranty? So one thing I always say is, there's a bunch of different roofing material out there. A lot of it's generic brand and it's horrible and it's going to wear way faster. And like I said, you're making the roofer money, not yourself. I would always say, especially an insurance claim, go with an Owens Corning. That's your top roofing material out there. There's a GAF would be like the second top. Anything outside of that is really crap. Like I would not put it on the roof. I'll tell people, look, I'm getting such good quality, like prices on my good material as what you're going to get on generic. I wouldn't even go generic. So let's go with a good one. But Owens Corning has a platinum preferred contractors list. So I always say start there, because if that contractor disappears, then what's going to happen is they're going to get another platinum preferred contractor come in and take care of you. So that's a warranty. And there's a good handful now here in San Antonio that they pay for that. We're the largest residential roofing company. We do high volumes for Owens Corning. So we're the only ones that get it free. So they're giving that to us because of the volume and the workmanship that we have. So Owens Corning backs us. So everyone else will pay for that, but it gets you that warranty. So 10 years, local business, been in business 10 years, Owens Corning Platinum Preferred Contractor. A good way to look to see to make sure they're not lying to you. I'm not a fan of BBB. But, because there was a whole Dateline show, like go back and look at it. Like everybody thinks it's a government entity. It's not, it's a for-profit. You could pay for an A rating. So don't look, who cares what the ratings say, but look at BBB put the name of the company, the address. That will tell you when they were established. I can't tell you how many roofing companies will claim, even have billboards saying, we've been in business, 20 years, and you look, it's been 3 years. Where's the 20-year gap?
Right.
So look, that's a win way. If they're lying to you on the front end, just move on. So those are good things to go down the list. I think if you follow those guidelines, regardless if you go with Holden Roofing, you should be in good hands enough to be able to move forward and have a good warranty.
Joseph, you do financial planning with Financial Planning HQ.
Yeah.
How do you help your clients deal with these unexpected expenses like a damaged roof after a storm?
Yeah, we have a methodology for determining the exact amount of cash reserves you should have based on 6 to 12 months of non-discretionary expenses, so non-luxury expense items, but also looking at your deductibles. So we'll actually add those deductibles in, like your win and hail deductible, and we'll tell you this is the exact amount to keep in cash reserves. This is where to put it. And it helps you because they offer financing, I know that, but it saves you from having to finance it. And making sure that if it does happen, you just have the money there. You don't have to worry about it.
Right, and that saves them money because you probably have to pay interest on financing.
Yep, usually I think it's like 5 to 7%, something like that. Probably more, actually.
Yeah.
Alyssa, you mentioned that sometimes the roofing contractor will do something with the deductible, will offer some kind of break. Is that legal?
Definitely not.
No.
And I wish in the whole roofing, like regulatory environment, it's not the best. So that's why I tell people you really got to do your research. because there's not a lot of, legal help out there for you.
Mm-hmm.
No one's really regulating these roofers out here. So, like in San Antonio, you don't even need to be licensed. I know some areas of San Antonio you have to be registered, but a lot of the times, nobody's regulating that or looking. So insurance companies, they'll say, hey, you can't have your deductible paid, and then some may, and it's like a draw. So who knows? You might get a desk adjuster where they're like, I'm gonna look into this because I just I want to today, and then that's when they'll start fishing and be like, wait, how did you pay your deductible? I need proof of a check or a credit card transaction. And then if they're caught where the roofing company came in, and you'll hear them say, we'll cover your deductible, or we'll dissolve it, or we'll put it somewhere else. What they're doing is they're gonna end up most likely sending in falsify information saying you did pay it, and now you just committed insurance fraud with your roofer.
Oh no!
And it's you could be fined up to $2,000 and then blacklisted on your insurance company.
That's awful. We got to take a break, but stay tuned. This is important stuff. We'll be right back. Are you 100% confident that no matter what happens in the financial markets, economy, or world events, you will achieve your financial goals? If not, we have a process to get your financial house in perfect order and keep it that way forever. Your financial future shouldn't be a guessing game. Planning, advice, organization, and accountability are deliverables you should expect. For over 35 years, Financial Planning HQ has been San Antonio's trusted partner for comprehensive written lifetime financial strategies. Steve and his team, including sons Joseph and Jacob, don't believe in a one-size-fits-all approach. Instead, they create a personalized financial roadmap for you based on what's important to you. As an independent registered investment advisor, they're not tied to any big corporation's products. They work for you, creating inspiring, intelligent financial strategies that put your interests first. Call Financial Planning HQ at 210-685-2722. That's 210-685-2722. What if you couldn't speak for yourself? A power of attorney ensures someone you trust can act on your behalf. I'm attorney Todd Marquardt. Let's put your plan in place now. Schedule your free consultation at marquardtlawfirm.com or call 210-530-4278. That's 210-530-4278. Do it before you die.
9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt here with Alyssa Warren with Holden Roofing and her husband, Joseph Warren, who's with Financial Planning HQ. But this is the legacy segment.
And now, it's time for the Talk Law Radio Legacy Spotlight. What's your legacy? Sponsored by Marquardt Law Firm.
Alyssa, you know attorneys at Marquardt Law Firm focus on business and estate law, including last wills, living trusts, and tax-protected inheritance plans. It's all about legacy. So we like to ask our guest about legacy. Are there some family values you want to talk about or some special heirlooms that you've inherited?
Yeah. So growing up, and it's kind of funny. So I always told my parents I learned a lot of what not to do from them than what to do, but it was very valuable. And I did see they did teach me things also what to do. But I know like one thing with my dad, he passed away a few years ago. Right after I got them to move out here to San Antonio.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so we got 3 months with him and then he just suddenly passed. But one thing my dad used to always do is he would kind of doodle and draw on a lot of different items. And, he'd leave them around for us or give them to us. So I have a lot of things that he's just would draw on. So one thing that like I remember, and I still kept the box, usually I throw boxes away, but I kept it, is this Charlie Brown Christmas tree. He gave it to me and he wrote on there, to Alyssa, my daughter, I love you, blah, 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 and did like a little doodle on it. So I kept that. We used to also collect sports cards, mostly basketball on my end, because I grew up playing basketball. And when he passed, I didn't realize he had so much still, because I know he had given me a lot already. But me and my brother were going through the garage after he passed, and we found a lot of different things, and we are kind of like, and it was one of those ones me and my brother didn't have an argument. It's like, okay, this belongs to you, because that was our thing. So he left me with a lot of like sports cards and stuff like that.
That's
So.
great. I used to collect baseball cards, and so I have this box. It's sort of like a toy box, but that's where I stored all my baseball cards. When I stopped collecting, I started having to study more and didn't have as much time for that. And so I have a middle son who played baseball, and so I've already told him that I'm going to give that to him. So that's sort of part of my legacy.
Nice. Yeah.
Cool. Anything else you want to say about legacy? What about for your kids?
Oh yeah, for our kids, we're in like constant build mode still. I think we're a couple years into our marriage, but I know like one thing we talk about is it's not so much we want to leave like items to our kids. It's more like installing, how to do things. Like we'd like to have our kids leave them with a business and a business mindset of knowing how to run that business. So that's one of the main things I want to install. And I know even with our littlest one, or with Vera, our daughter, like since we started doing flips, she's been flipping. We joke, she's been flipping houses her whole life.
Yeah.
She kind of goes in like a little boss baby and walks around, starts looking at things,
Pointing at stuff.
pointing at things. So, like we already see that installed in her, and I'm interested to see what happens with Luke as he grows older, and sees us and venturing into like the land deals and stuff, and seeing what kind of interest they have. But whatever their interest goes, I just want to be able to install. Okay, well, if that's your like, then let's figure out how we can make that into like your career, something you love, and have stability in your finances. And of course I could definitely see us leaving a good chunk of money also to them, where they're going to be set, but I want them to be able to make it themselves as well.
Yeah, of course. I hear that a lot from my clients. I don't want them to stop contributing to society if they receive this large inheritance. And so we usually design something so that they can access it or have somebody manage it for them so that it lasts a long time. And a couple of weeks ago, Joseph was talking about leaving an inheritance to your children's children. And so is that part of your roadmap to sort of provide for the whole family tree?
Yeah, we're in build mode, and I think the buying land and building houses thing that we're doing next, I'm really excited about that. And I think, me running the numbers, her with her expertise as a general contractor, working with general contractors, we could do very well. But it really comes down to teaching them rather than just giving them stuff. Because I've seen that so many times working in finance, and we don't want lazy kids. We don't want kids who aren't doing anything or just kind of, whatever. We want kids who are going to contribute and make their own mark on the world.
Amen. I love that. Joseph's legacy already for me is, I think it was last year or maybe a couple of years ago, we did a seminar and we did a show about how to leave a legendary legacy.
Yeah.
And Joseph said, your legacy is the sum total of the decisions you made over your whole life. Wow, that's sort of scary to think about. What kind of impact do you want to make beyond just your family, or beyond, just being a great roofer and a great financial planner?
Yeah, I think when it comes down to everything, I think I made a Facebook post about this years ago, but also just being the hands and feet of Christ. And it's amazing to be like, I made a post where I talked about how more impactful would it be if it was your roofer praying for you in your living room and you're not in a church building being prayed for. It's one of those things, like we're all called in different areas. Like, I'm doing roofing, but ultimately my call is, to spread the gospel. So there's many times, many clients that, it just came up in conversation somehow. And I end up, I'm praying with them, and, some will even come to church with us. And I just got a phone call 2 days ago from a client that she gave me a call, and she's like, I just wanted to call you. And she's like, there's nothing wrong with my roof, but she goes, I just remember when you prayed with me in my living room, and I was going through such a hard time. And so I had a good conversation with her for like 30 minutes, and I told her, I'll swing by and we'll talk more. But that's the main thing I want my kids to walk away with is, my mom was really, the hands and feet for Christ. And she really, she walked the walk. She didn't just talk. Like I'm the same person I am in church as I am at home. So and that's the main thing I think that we both kind of look at, that we really want to install in them as well.
Cool. Well, I'd like to say a prayer. I got this from a newsletter that I get every day, I think. It's Lutheran Hour Ministries. And so it starts, Come holy fire, comfort, true. Grant us the will, your work to do, and in your service to abide. Let trials turn us not aside. Lord, by your power prepare each heart, and to our weakness strength impart, that bravely here we may contend, through life and death to you, our Lord, ascend. Amen.
Amen.
So this was about the Holy Spirit. And we don't talk much about the Holy Spirit generally, and so I wanted to bring that up today. But I still want to continue this conversation of legacy. Do you think that your kids will become house flippers or financial planners, or how will you shape and encourage them along the way?
Yeah, so I think our daughter shows a lot of interest of like following my footsteps. So I know she often she has little like stairs and stuff that to get up on the counter and in the bathroom, and anytime she climbs up she's like, I'm getting on the roof. Like that's her little thing. So and but yeah, I gotta watch her. So she's not fearful at all. Like she's not scared of heights. So I think she has an interest of that. So I can see her going into the construction side. Even when I'm doing little projects around the house, she wants to be right there with a hammer. Want to see what I do and how I'm building it. So Luke, I don't know, he's still really little. He's a very observant though. He watches everything. I think he's going to mimic a lot of him. So
yeah, you talked about that on a show one time about how Vera would climb on the furniture.
Yeah.
And you were scared, but you didn't want her to have a fear mindset.
We didn't want to instill fear, so we said,
Look
don't
down.
look, no, you look down. We say look down instead of be careful and what are you doing? Stuff like that, yeah.
Cool. Well, what do you think, Joseph? How are they shaping your legacy?
Yeah. I think it's interesting you mentioned the Holy Spirit because that's what we're teaching right now in kids ministry. We're talking about Acts 1:8.
What does that say generally?
The Holy Spirit will come upon you and you're to be sort of what, like she was saying, the hands and feet of Christ and go to all the nations, which is what we're going over this week. We're just making the curriculum.
yeah, we're writing it last night. It's interesting.
Yeah, but I think it is that sum total of the decisions you make and just kind of being that example, right? You lead by example. So want to be a good example, want to be a good example as a Christian, a father, or as a mother. So our kids will follow in those footsteps and hopefully do better than we do. And we want to do really well. So, we really want to set the bar really high and then have them jump over it.
Yeah. Well, this radio show is part of your legacy. Your kids will be able to listen to this or watch it on YouTube. And so share that with them.
We will.
Yeah.
Thank you for being on the show. You're a lot of fun to talk to. You're very knowledgeable about roofing. Why don't you tell the people what you want them to know about roofing?
The main thing, honestly, with roofing is if you get to the point to where you have to replace it, just do your research on the front end, not on the back end when there's a problem. And then also kind of keep in mind if you're really all in Texas, so the sweet spot with the roofs are typically between 8 and 10 years. If you're around 8 years old, start having a reputable roofer looking at your roof after every storm. So that way you can get it in that right time period before your insurance hikes up in premiums. So keep in mind 8 to 10 years, start looking at the roof. If you already see a leak, the problem's too bad. And yeah, if you ever need to get a reputable roofer, feel free to call Holden Roofing and ask for Alyssa.
HOLDEN?
Yep, HOL.
Holden.
Holden Roofing, yep.
Okay. Do you want to give them the office number?
Well, you can call me direct. If you call into Holden Roofing, it depending on where you're at in Texas, you can ask for me. If you're here in San Antonio, call me direct at 210-779-7646.
Okay. Say the number again.
210-779-7646.
Thank you guys for being on the show. This was a
course.
lot of fun.
Yep.
That's it for today. I'll talk to you later.
Most families don't realize they have hidden legal blind spots until it's too late. Wills, trust, Medicaid planning, even protecting a business. These are the kinds of issues attorney Todd Marquardt helps uncover before they become problems. Todd is the host of Talk Law Radio, where each week he guides listeners through the legal challenges families, veterans, and business owners face, while showing them the practical steps to protect what matters most. Catch Talk Law Radio, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, 6:30 a.m. The Word, and now in Houston on AM 1070 and 103.3 FM The Answer, or anytime on YouTube. Planning isn't just about documents. It's about peace of mind, security for loved ones, and building a legacy that lasts. Don't wait for a crisis. Do it before you die.